What does it mean to be truly free? To think clearly, act without hesitation, and adapt to any challenge. A wise man once said, "Empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless, like water." This is the story of what it means to empty your mind, and how it can change the way you live. There was once a young student who went to learn from a great master. The student had read many books, studied many teachers, and believed he already knew much about life. When he arrived, he proudly told the master everything he had learned, quoting philosophers, sharing techniques, and explaining his own beliefs. The master listened patiently, then poured him a cup of tea. The cup filled quickly, but the master did not stop pouring. The tea spilled over the edges, dripping onto the table and the floor. "Stop!" cried the student. "The cup is full. It cannot hold more." The master smiled. "You are like this cup," he said. "Full of opinions, full of thoughts, full of yourself. How can I teach you unless you first empty your cup?" To empty your mind is not to abandon knowledge. It is to create space. Space for learning, space for growth, space for clarity. Imagine your mind is a glass of muddy water. The more you stir it, the cloudier it becomes. But if you let it be still, slowly, the mud settles, and the water becomes clear. In the same way, when your mind is full of noise, fear, and doubt, you cannot see the truth. But when you empty it, when you let thoughts settle, you begin to see clearly. Emptying your mind also means being able to adapt. Think of water. Water can flow gently in a stream. It can crash like a waterfall. It can take the shape of any container it is poured into. Water is soft, yet nothing can resist it forever. To be like water is to be flexible, not rigid. Strong, but not stubborn. Calm, but unstoppable. When life changes, as it always does, the rigid mind breaks, but the empty, flowing mind endures. There was once a warrior who trained day and night, perfecting a single sword technique. He believed it was the strongest move in the world. But in battle, his opponent did something unexpected. The warrior tried his perfected move again and again, and failed. His skill was great, but his mind was rigid. He had trained his body, but not his flexibility. True mastery does not come from clinging to one way. It comes from adapting to every way. That is why the master says, empty your mind. Be like water. But how do we empty the mind in our own lives? First, by letting go of the past. You cannot fill your future if you are still holding yesterday's pain. Second, by releasing control. We often try to force life into our plan, but life is bigger than our plans. When you flow with it, you discover paths you never imagined. Third, by being present. When you empty your mind of what if and what was, you begin to live fully in what is. Think about the last time you were deeply focused, maybe playing a sport, painting, writing, or even laughing with friends. In that moment, your mind was empty of distraction. You weren't thinking of the future or the past. You were simply there. And in that emptiness, you were free. That is the power of an empty mind. It is not weakness. It is freedom. Emptying your mind is not about having nothing. It is about making space for everything. It is about being open, adaptable, and clear. So the next time your mind feels crowded with worry, anger, or doubt, remember the cup of tea. Remember the muddy water. Remember the flow of water. Let go. Release. Be formless. Be shapeless. Be like water. Because when you empty your mind, you discover not less of yourself, but more of who you were meant to be. Subscribe to the Narrative Hub for more stories and wisdom that help you grow, adapt, and live free.